Music fans, welcome to another edition of last week's album. I am Kevin,
I'm Derek.
and we will kick things off like we always do, drinking a beer after I open this. Cheers, Derek.
Cheers, Kevin. Cheers, music fans at home.
All right, guys. My beer is foaming, but that's okay. We'll keep rocking and rolling. This week, we are reviewing an album called Yes, I Know I've Loved This World by a band, if you will, called Valley Maker. A little bit of background on Valley Maker. It's basically Austin Crane, this guy out of Columbia, South Carolina. He will soon be moving to Seattle, Washington. He plays guitar, banjo, piano, and vocals, and he is regularly joined as Valley Maker by Amy Godwin, who is a vocalist, and a rotating cast of band members. This album is their second album. They're I don't know. The first one was self-titled or self-pseudonym titled. I don't know what you call it when you're mainly a one-man band and you have a pseudonym for your band and your first album is self-titled. Derek, any ideas?
I think that sums it up right there. Self-pseudonym titled.
Self-pseudonym titled, coining another term after last week's other thingiveness right here on last week's album. Anyway, that came out in 2010, and now this is out. The debut album was a lot of Genesis-based narratives, literally from the book of Genesis, from the Bible. And this second album here is a lot more personal to Austin Crane, it seems, basically dealing with his future and impending move to Seattle, Washington, to pursue a PhD. Anyway, let's jump right into Sounds Like. Derek, what do you got?
Kevin, I think Yes, I Know I Love This World is anything but easy listening.
Yep, I would agree with that. It's not exactly soft rock, if you consider that easy listening. I'm going with equal parts Conor Oberst, Colin Meloy, and Bon Iver. It's very singer-songwriter based, very stripped down, and there's something I was reading up, and he calls his own music indigenous, and I thought that's a really good word to sum it up. There's something very human, very carnal yet thoughtful about it all, and just a really good sound overall. So that brings us to key tracks. I've got By My Side, Everlasting Life, Pretty Little Life Form, and Take My People Dancing. What about you, Derek?
I got Only Friend, The Mission, and Pretty Little Life Form we agree on.
Okay, well, I think Only Friend is first in order of tracks here, not the first track. So why don't you kick us off with that one?
You got it. Yeah, that one's one of the first two or three. It opens with some soft acoustic guitar and an angular banjo riff that I thought was very interesting. It sounds very uniquely like a banjo, but at the same time there's some effects going on, not entirely sure what, but it makes it sound at the same time distinctly not like a banjo, which was a very cool effect. The lyrics I thought were really good. He had a lot of strings of couplets that really went kind of deep, as Kevin mentioned. The song's obviously kind of personal, and he tackles a lot of issues. And this one in particular delves into some relationships. But overall, a pretty cool sound, Americana, yet kind of bringing in a very new influence and a very interesting opening. One of the opening tracks. Excuse me.
Yeah, Derek, that's not one of my key tracks, but it did catch my ear, and it's funny you mentioned the banjo there. To me, it almost sounded Eastern, Asian or Middle Eastern. It had this unique tinge to it or tone to it that almost hinted at a sitar or something like that, and I heard that on a few other tracks later, this hint of an Eastern sound, which is interesting in this sort of Americana folk overall sound. But for my first key track, I've got By My Side, Everlasting Life. Actually, I realize now I'm completely wrong. This was the first track. Yours was the second. Whatever. But this one is chill and dreamy. It's slightly spooky, somber, but it has a catchy beat a la shaker and percussion. These spooky female backing vocals, which are a stalwart of Valley Maker, thanks to, I think, Amy Snowden. No, can't be Snowden. Hang on. Godwin. Don't want to get called out, guys. She's not a whistleblower. Anyway, and there's a really good line. When the sun lights up your face, don't give me God, don't give me grace. Give me something I can taste, like you right by my side. It's this yearning song about looking for companionship and permanence, two things we all sort of look for when we move, which I think harps back to the overall theme of this album. What do you have for your next key track, Derek?
I've got Pretty Little Life Form. This one's got a bouncing electric guitar riff that kind of casts a dark shadow, foreshadowing the song, I guess you could say. Once again, intricately layered vocals, which were very strong again. It tells of a love story, and I thought it kind of changed in time references, going to the beginning of the relationship to the end, very frequently and fluidly. And the chorus caught my attention. He says, "Baby, is your mind upset? Mine is. But I love you, not yet." Which I kind of chuckled at because it struck me as almost like the ultimate dude song. You're saying, like, you're Miss Right, just not right now. And don't complain about it. I'll talk to you later. But it was wrapped up in a completely different looking box, i.e. the sound, so I couldn't pass this one up.
Yeah. It's also one of my key tracks that I really enjoyed with its pensive electric guitar, male-female vocals, and sort of just those at the start, and later the drums, more backing vocals, louder guitars come in. And I liked your lyric, but the one I wrote down, Derek, is what is anything for if it's not to feel and it's not to need? So I like how your example there that made light of a very serious song. But yeah, really good track. You know, pining for younger days when things were simpler and purer, and we were all just stupid little kids in love. But that's not anymore, guys. We're growing up. Let's move on to the next key track. Derek, what do you got?
Kevin, I've got The Mission. Strummed electric guitars here, which was kind of a change from the rest of the album, I guess you could say. And in my notes, the closest thing to an upbeat tempo found on the album thus far. Although it does pick up later, I believe, in the key track you'll talk about later. Once again, lyrics talking about life and death, and this time especially maximizing the former before meeting the latter. And one lyric really captured my attention and encapsulated this. A buzzing light on in an empty building. The pearly gates are an escape from the prison. Just struck me as really dark. You know, I like the imagery, though, and at the same time, the electric guitars and stuff would draw down for these very poignant lyrics, really made them stand out even more. Overall, just a really good track.
Yeah, Derek, also took note of that line, a buzzing light in an empty building. And I liked it because it wasn't clear if that's the building he's leaving or the building he's going to, you know, full of people, or absent of people he's leaving behind, or not yet full of the people he will meet. I thought that was a cool little play on the future and the past.
True, and you know, I gotta say this: the lyrics that make you ask more questions is one of the key reasons why I thought this is not so much easy listening. Like, there's a lot of there's a lot there to the lyrics. So, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, we're definitely dealing with big questions, big life issues here. For my key track, last one, Take My People Dancing. One of the more upbeat tracks, like you mentioned, Derek. It's got these sliding acoustic and electric guitars, not slide guitar, but as I call them, sliding. You can hear them sliding along the frets. And this subtle bass line, male-female vocals. And the last quarter shifts gears into this Eastern-influenced kumbaya of sorts. The guitar almost sounds like a sitar, like we mentioned earlier with the banjo. And the voices and the melody almost sounds Arabic or Asian. Really good line. I want to hold you, but this world is so inviting. I want to keep you, but you are not everlasting. And it's obviously a farewell song, remembering the good times, looking forward to new times, and overall, a really strong track. So, moving on to best lyric. I've got one from Only Friend, and it goes, "You don't know what you have found until you find what you have known." Subtle, simple, profound, and obviously, again, about moving from a place you've been for a long time to a brand new location. What'd you have for best lyric, Derek?
You know, mine also comes from Only Friend. yes, we were born in a southern town. What was up was really down. What I found was already found. I think I met you underground. Just kind of. I really like the wordplay here going on with the lots of repetition in the rhyme scheme there. Yeah, I liked it. Go ahead.
Yeah, he liked it. Overall rating, I'm going to go with a 3 out of 5. This album is very earnest, caught my ear right from the start. Went through a bunch of stuff this week, and this was the one that really stuck out to me as something that was unique and a different sort of sound. It's spooky, yet soothing, which is a very weird juxtaposition, but I think it's soothing because it's something relatable. We've all been there. We've all moved to a different place and gone through that sort of emotive time. And Austin Crane has this knack for keeping this simple from getting boring. I think he does that really well with his emotional vocal delivery, as well as these earworm melodies that he can repeat but still never get old. Like we mentioned before, we've got themes of leaving, big life questions, new beginnings, all coming through brilliantly and poetically. And to me, if I were to sum it up, it encapsulates this eerie, familiar feeling of when it's late at night and you're driving back into your hometown. That's exactly what this album felt like to me. And, sonically, lyrically, really strong, really great album. I hope to hear more from Valley Maker. What do you give it, Derek?
Kevin, I'm going 3 as well. Musically, I thought it was very strong. Lyrical content, also very strong. Made you really kind of ask a lot of questions yourself. Really agree with a lot of things he said. I guess if I were to summarize it, and this was almost a throwaway from my sounds like, but just to bring that back in, I think this sounds like an album that would come from a band named A Grave with No Name, who you can look through our videos we reviewed a few weeks ago, who doesn't sound anything like they would have this name. So I think they would have that name. And also, if you were to think about it, a grave that's just been dug, has not been filled yet, is, if anything, a valley for Valley Maker. There you have it. So check it out. Looking forward to more to come from Austin Crane and or Valley Maker, whatever moniker they continue under.
I loved your analogy there, Derek. We're turning album reviews into their own art form here, right here at last week's album, guys. Well, that's it for this time. Don't forget to subscribe and check out more of our videos. And I am Kevin.
I'm Derek.
And we are last week's album, talking about good music. See you next week, guys.